My name is Bernice L. McFadden. I'm the author of 13 novels, eldest of 4 children. I live in Brooklyn, New York, where I'm at work on my 14th novel. I come from a family that my grandparents, my great uncles and aunts, when family got together, you sat around the dinner table and you told stories. And a lot of those stories end up in the books that I write. I've been writing since I was 8 years old, and I've always known that writing was the only thing I really wanted to do. I strayed a number of times because I just couldn't see where it would be possible for me to be able to support myself as a writer. Because in the 70s when I was growing up, the black writers were all dead. So basically, nobody that looked like me was making money, so I had to find something else to do. The entire time I was writing, and I started querying agents and editors probably around 1989, 1990. And I had this book, Sugar, and I was consistently revising it and sending it out. It took almost 10 years before someone actually decided to give it a shot. What had happened, at least in the African American writing community, was that Terry McMillan had come on the scene, and wonderful things were happening for a lot of writers who had been struggling to get published. But I wasn't writing in that vein. I wasn't writing the girlfriend story, the chick lit story. And so a lot of editors would read what I sent them and respond with, "This is really a great story. I don't think there's an audience for it. Why don't you read what's out there and then come back?" But I refused to go down that road until 2005.
As far as I'm concerned, though, Bernice L. McFadden, she's the GOAT. She is one of the best. She's in my top 5. And the reason being, my favorite book is called Loving Donovan. Man, if you ain't read it, read it. But that book there, number 1. What up? I'm Christopher Markland. Welcome back. What Bernice L. McFadden just said in that little clip that we saw that really resonated with me, and I think it should as well with you as a writer, is that she was talking about telling your own story, telling her story. The things that she talked about in her books, the stories that she told, were stories that she heard as a child that were told to her by her uncles, her grandparents, her family. So those are things that are in her heart. Those are things that were filtered through her experiences both as a child and as growing up into an adult. And she was able to basically just put all that into the books, the emotions, the memories, all of those things were then what she was able to impart to her readers, her audience. Like I just said, I love her book, Loving Donovan. That's my favorite book of all time. Why? Because of how she told the story. But once again, that was her story, okay? Those are the stories that she knew. That's what she wrote. There's so many times that a lot of authors will jump genres, if you will. In other words, they'll start writing about things that are not authentic to them, and it shows. Like, if you didn't necessarily grow up in what they call the hood series, if you will, meaning that you didn't sell dope, you didn't do all those things. I never sold dope. So if I was to try and write a street lit book, it would be so inauthentic. When I wrote my books, Desperately Seeking Exclusivity and Desperately Seeking Pleasure, it was told through the lenses that I had literally seen, that I had experienced. A couple of those were where I took stories or just people that I knew and interwove them into the story. It's not necessarily word for word, John did this. No, it's things that I saw and I was able to filter it into a story. Desperately Seeking Pleasure, for instance, it took place on a cruise. I've been on a couple of cruises, so I still was able to, had to do some research, mind you, but it was authentic to me because it was something that I had actually done, something that I had been through. That's what it's about in order to write your story. Tell your story and let it be authentic to you. Remember when, what was it, the young adult books were popping, the whole, what they call it, dystopian era and all that. You know, you had the Hunger Games, you had had with Divergent, Maze Run, all them books, they were basically the same genre. So a lot of people said, okay, I'm struggling at work, I want to, jumpstart my career, so let me write in that particular genre. But if that's not what you do, don't do it. If you're not that level of a storyteller, like I said, if you're not authentic, it shows. One of my favorite storytellers is Elin Harris. Don't necessarily, subject matter is subject matter. It is what it is. Love is love, and I'm a big fan of love. That's my brand. You see the heart? That's what I do. I love love in all shapes, sizes, and forms. If they don't rock with me, hey, you do you. I'm going to do me. Everybody's happy because it's all about love. But anyway, Elin Harris, when he passed away, he was in the middle of writing a book. Now, Elin Harris is one of the best storytellers to me. I love how he's able to bring his characters and bring them to life, and you can knock the mic. You can feel the love that, the feelings that he's just a damn good storyteller. Anyway, when he passed away, the book that he was working on had to be completed by an author named R.M. Johnson. Now, R.M. Johnson, he's the author of the $1 Million Divorce and it's a whole series of books. And he also wrote some other books as well. The thing is, his style of writing, his being R.M. Johnson, is not Elin Harris's style of writing. R.M. Johnson, he's a good author. He's a best-selling author, come to think about it. However, his books, his style is not Elin Harris. So in trying to finish out Elin Harris's book, he had to write in a style that wasn't his. And then when he brought his style into it, you could see the difference. You could feel the difference as you read the books. It was a juxtaposition of two different styles. So if you're not authentically writing what your style, you're not speaking in your voice, it's no different than if you try to go to another country. If it's not your native tongue, the people that live there are gonna be like, okay, that ain't real. The same thing, I'm from Jamaica, grew up in Georgia, but if I hear somebody trying to fake a Jamaican accent, it's like, well, go on, no. It doesn't work. It's the same thing when it comes to your writing voice. Write your voice, tell your story, because trust and believe your readers are going to be able to tell when something is or isn't authentic. So what's a book that you've read where you could just tell that the writer was writing something that wasn't authentic to them? How did that make you feel as a reader? And as a writer, is that something that you've ever done? Let me know in the comment section. But as always, y'all, stay writing, stay determined. See y'all next time.